Well, half past through Alamogordo, there lived a friendly frenemy duo. They were like, hey, we have an idea for a show. We'll call it Crack and Stiff Food Review, and we'll show some cool things to you. All shapes and sizes and knickknacks, paddywhacks too. It's just your regular normal show and tell. And also there's a stalker from hell, but hey, at least it sure ain't no time bell. There's nothing else to say about Crack and Stiff. They literally do nothing else as a bit. They just eat food and talk about objects and shit. Hey, it's the Crack and the Stiff. It's the Crack and the Stiff. Well, Crack and Stiff were sitting in jail, so then they broke out and went out on a trail. The cops and the feds, they were on their tail, so their big adventure started that day. While they were in jail, well, no can say. They vowed to never speak about that fateful day. Then they went inside a house, stole some food. The people in there sure gave them an attitude. That's also where they got all of their clothes too. Oh, back at the office in the federal realm, the cops were useless, said the chief at the helm. So the chief sent Jane, cause the feds were overwhelmed. Jane got in a Ford and drove away from the mayhem. Dead or alive, she was gunning for both of them, eager to find out what trouble they had stemmed. But unbeknown to Jane, behind the car was a stench. She looked back at the people and her heart did clench. Turns out they wanted their clothes back, they wanted revenge on the Crack and the Stiff. It's the Crack and the Stiff. Well, Crack and Stiff were a hitchhiking along while Crack shared a Native American song. They bickered and wondered if they were in the wrong. Before they could say any more came a car. Inside of that car was a tourist named Bart, and he happily helped them, he was also from afar. Boys said they were heading to Alamogordo. Then Bart shook his head and said no, no, no. He was heading back to Canada and driving real slow. After the sixth Gorillion story, and after every abood and sorry, Stiff was getting anxious, and so he made them stop at the closest gas station. Bart went to the bathroom with no hesitation, and Stiff told Crack about his plan for evacuation. When Bart walked back, his wagon was gone, so he told a cop there about what they had done. Turns out that cop was Jane, and her party grew by one, and they were at the Crack and the Stiff. It's the Crack and the Stiff. It's all right, Crack and the Stiff. It's the Crack and the Stiff. Oh, anyway, a little past nightfall, the car they had stalled. Crack was getting worried about it all. Stiff said, pull your head together, man. They are the monster, and we also have a plan. We'll sleep the night in a hotel over there while we can. And Stiff need a woman at the counter and flirted. Spent the whole night for free like he worded. Crack was kinda miffed and Stiff fucked her cause he could afford it. Crack had a dream about a spirit mystic, taught him about flying shields and magic. But it would have knew his past was pretty tragic. At the door was a heavy knocking. Freeze! Jane was on the other end talking, so they jumped out the window with the cop behind them barking as they ran and ran like cowardly beagles. Crack and Stiff met some homeless peoples. The hobos took them into their community of illegals. So while Jane and her crew were closing in, Crack taught the hobos about the magic within. Stiff was having none of that cause he wanted to win. So Stiff pulled a gun right out of a trash can. Crack was amazed, but he wasn't a big fan, so he danced until it rained and hobos were amazed at this man. Crack grabbed the lid and he hid in the mist. Stiff fired and gunned at Jane, but he missed. Chaos erupted as everyone there was pissed. They knew what she had to do. Both of the boys were right there too. So she fired a bullet and she aimed at the two. Crack flew back and fell on the ground. Stiff let out a big guttural sound. He aimed at her but the bullet ricocheted all around. It flew back at Stiff and he fell down also. She brought them both into a hospital, so a job well done to Jane. For her it was the end of the show. 3 days later, lights shone through, though the window hitting our comedy duo. Both of them staggered out the door to the popo. Jane was there to begin and take them in, told them everything they had done was a sin. So both of them thought, how could they possibly win? Just then the floor began to violently shake, just as crack taught them how to make. The hope was for her and flying shields for them to take.